do that well. Everyone see our pickleballer?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm in presentation mode, but do you see just our pickleballer or do you see more than that?
See several slides.
Okay. Hold on.
Yeah.
Roger, will we be able to see this on our website?
It's
Thanks,
okay.
Roger. I might have to leave
All
a little early.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, for purposes of getting going, you'll see my next slide coming up, but we'll talk as we go. I apologize. Display settings. Yeah, I'll just work from here. But great to be with you. I serve as president and CEO of Goodwin Living, and Goodwin Living as a organization is a faith-based not-for-profit based in Northern Virginia. We started in 1967. And we are grateful to be serving 2,500 people in our market area. And then we have a brain health program, Stronger Memory, that has been served up past 16,000 people across the country so far, and a few internationals as well. And so grateful to share the story of Stronger Memory and give you a sense of that program, and encourage you all to engage and participate in that as best you want to. So I give you the history as well. It's quite a personal story, as it started with my mom back 11 years ago now. Our mission is probably the most important part of what we talk about. Our mission is to support, honor, and uplift the lives of older adults and the people who care for them. The reason why we spend time working with other groups outside of Northern Virginia is because we don't specify that the people that we support, honor, and uplift only have to be our residents or our members. Or the people we serve in our general community. We're really looking to impact the lives of all older adults and caregivers and the people that come around them holistically. So grateful to be with you. Glad that Roger reached out. We've got a lot of different services. If you're ever up in Northern Virginia, I welcome you to come visit us. We have three active communities. We also do therapy services, hospice services. So we have a whole cadre of services, and everything that we do under the Goodwin Living for Stronger Memory is through our foundation. It's all funded by generous donors to the foundation. So, oh, you are okay. Huh. How about that? Okay. Great. This you probably know, especially if you're down in Florida, but all over the country and really throughout the world, we have a growing number of older adults. Congratulations. This is good. We like having people live longer. It's a sign of positive success in our health systems, and just to being able to age longer, healthier. Those are all good things. We have had a little bit of a backslide on the on how long life expectancy is now, given COVID and some other factors over the last couple of years. But the trend of the number of older adults is still growing. And you can see we're just getting started in this 2023 timeframe, where we're at 25 million. We'll head up past 40 million, close to 45 million by 2040 of 75 plus year olds in the country. So as we get older, we also are going to need more services. And one of the challenges we have as a country is that we also are experiencing some of the lowest birth rates as a country. So we have more older adults, less people. And this is not a political statement, but for our field, we really rely on immigrant populations to help supplement and grow our caregiving support. And with the lack of focus on being a country of welcome, intentional welcome, we are not seeing the same number of people coming in and choosing to be a part of our country, and subsequently not part of our workforce. So from a practical standpoint, we were losing out on the hands that we're going to need to care for this doubling of older adults that's occurring in the country. Okay, so this is my mom. I grew up in Oregon, so she's wearing Oregon State beaver paraphernalia there. She's also got some beads on for the Oregon Ducks because they were playing each other in the Civil War at a time. But she was born in Portland, Oregon. Just celebrated 55 years with my dad, coming up on their 56th year. There's 3 children, 7 grandchildren, 3 grand dogs we're tracking right now. So a lot going on. And my mom, Wendy, she's physically active, socially active, well-educated, a non-smoker and non-drinker. So from a perspective of your health around your brain health, should be pretty strong. And yet in 2011, she started to have challenges. She started to repeat herself and forget her conversations. And probably the scariest part of things was she was getting lost in familiar places as she was driving. And actually, I saw that from I had a dear aunt Ruth, and she lived down in Florida. And I remember being with her, and we were going to, I think, the Olive Garden from her apartment. And there was a construction. And my poor Aunt Ruth got completely lost. And although she'd been in the area for a long time, she just couldn't figure her way to the restaurant with a little bit of construction that diverted us. So when you get lost in familiar places, it certainly is an overwhelming feeling of fear and concern. And this is what was happening to my mom also back in Oregon in 2011. And admittedly, my dad was concerned, but getting frustrated. Like, why are you all these things happening to you? Why are you forgetting conversations we're having? Roger made a reference to couples, and sometimes selective hearing or selective memory can be a benefit. But in this case, it was creating some frustrations. At this time in 2011, I had served in our field for 9 years, and I had no answers to help my mom, which was really, really frustrating for me, because there's no cure for the dementias that are out there. There's more and more good research about how to prevent and push off, but no cures. And just as a frame of reference, you have sort of the normal aging process. You have mild cognitive impairment, which is where the MCI comes into play there. And typically, you can have up to 40% of people go from that MCI status to full-on dementia over the course of 5 years. So this is where you get full impairments, where activities of daily living are truly, you're being prevented from doing on a regular basis. And I don't think anyone's eaten yet, so I feel comfortable showing you both a normal brain and an Alzheimer's brain. But just to say this, that dementia itself and certainly Alzheimer's, those are not part of normal aging. So this is the abnormal aging. It's really a disease. And you can see that physically there's a true shrinkage of the size of the brain that occurs with the disease. And it makes it very difficult as the disease takes hold for thinking, planning, and remembering to be as fully strong as they have been historically. So I really like this quote from Dr. Mulsant. The goal has not been to try to solve dementia necessarily or Alzheimer's, because we don't have a solution. But if we can push off the need or push off the symptoms of it for 5 or 10 years, maybe that's our best answer. Because if you can get older and then die of other causes, then that's a win versus having to go through the challenges and the torment of full-on dementia. And this is the journey that we've been on since that 2011. So really starting with a brain test with my mom to show that she had some cognitive impairment, and then having no solutions for the first year, but then being introduced to a solution at a conference in Denver back in 2012. And that solution involved no medications, but it did involve commitment of doing 3 things consistently daily. And that was reading out loud, handwriting, and simple math problems done quickly. And what was amazing in 2012 was that we saw within a month, my mom's forgetfulness, repetition, and getting lost in familiar places all dissipated, all went away. And there was no other interventions that we introduced to her other than those 3 tools. And so, doing that in total. That was what was happening in 2012. Everything was going well. In 2015, I had a dear friend, Judy Wadsworth, say to me, "Hey, your mom's doing great, but what about other people? You need to do something about other people and give them a chance." So I was in Seattle at the time, and I spent a year with an occupational therapist who had also had teaching background, and we worked on creating a curriculum. And I would tell you that it shouldn't have taken us a year. It's not that advanced of a curriculum, but to create a pathway for older adults to do writing, handwriting, and simple math. We wanted to make sure we had as much of the work figured out, the curriculum figured out. So we created a version back in Seattle in 2015, and saw with a group of residents in assisted living and memory care that the program had the same results as what my mom was experiencing. Within a short window of time, people who had really forgotten their loved ones' names started to remember them. People who were having sleeping problems started to sleep better. People who were having eating problems started to eat better. The only intervention that we had introduced was this reading out loud, handwriting, and math done quickly approach. In 2019, we actually created a full-on new curriculum, a revised curriculum from what was done in 2015. And we started to do trials of that program in 2020, actually in January of 2020. Those went on through April, but we then ceased in-person trials because of COVID. And we moved to do virtual programming. So a lot of shifts. But what we saw with the trials, we did pre-tests of people and their cognitive ability, and we did post-tests after people had been on the program for a period of time. And we saw, again, what my mom had experienced and what my residents back in Seattle had experienced, that with consistency, people seem to either stay stable in their cognitive abilities or improve in their cognitive abilities, which was really, really exciting. We then teamed up with George Mason University. It's the largest public university in the state of Virginia, and we were working with their sociology department. And they've been doing research with us since 2021, and did some assessments of our work and felt really strong about the work in the program that we've offered. We launched the program nationally with a group called Village to Village Network. It's not the villages of Florida, but there are small village groups that are sort of more neighborhood based, about 50,000 people involved throughout the country, 300 chapters. And we've introduced and rolled the program out to about 35% of those chapters now. And a number of them continue to be very successful. We also have been able to run Stronger Memory program statewide in the state of Maryland. The Secretary of Aging there thought, wait a second, you have a program that is no cost and is effective. Well, let's roll this out. And so they did put some dollars to promoting it throughout over 50 senior centers. And again, we saw really good initial results from that. The surveys of the participants were really strong in terms of their feelings about improving their mental health, but also their social ability. That was another key factor of the program for Maryland. And then, as I referenced earlier, we've had over 16,000 people really benefit from the program. And certainly the Parkinson's groups throughout the country are starting to pick this up more and more, which we're excited about because we're seeing a lot of good positive outcomes with groups there. And we recently did a presentation with the National Council on Aging, which is the group that handles on a national level state and local, county, city aging services. And have had a number of states and other counties, jurisdictions come to us with excitement about being able to roll the program out. So this is the Stronger Memory. As you'll see a quote there from Dr. Emily O'Hara, who is the chair of the Mason Department of Social Work, and she is, I think I said sociology earlier, I meant social work. She is their research had indicated a lot of enthusiasm for the Stronger Memory program because it's non-pharmacological. There's no drugs involved, and subsequently there's no side effects. So even if you fail to continue to do it, there's no harm. If you do it every day, there's no harm. It's all upside potential. So really excited for that. And it really focuses on what we know is the prefrontal cortex, or the area for working memory. And seemingly that area, once stimulated, seems to have a positive impact on all other parts of the brain, which has been helpful from a cognitive function standpoint. I bet if I asked you all to do these math problems, you would say, no problem. And this is exactly the level of math that we provide to folks. It's trying to create anxiety-free math so that people can get through it quickly and not feel anxious about it. Maybe for some, even doing double digits could be difficult. So we recognize that too. But there are different levels of math that are provided in the curriculum. And we encourage people to work on that math, again, 5 minutes a day doing problems in combination with maybe their 10 or 10 minutes of reading out loud and 10 minutes of handwriting. So you get to about 25 minutes a day of a program, typically done at a set time in the morning for most people, although people seem to do it throughout the day as it fits their schedule. And then the writing prompts, nothing magical here, except the writing prompts, especially with couples and family members, have been a lot of fun for folks to do. It's created a tremendous amount of conversations between couples and friends, just being able to write about things and then talk about what you've written about. So we have hundreds of prompts that we provide, over 200, I think 250 prompts that we provide. And it also then creates a wonderful biography of the person as they fill that out. So it's had sort of a double benefit. And then simply next steps for all of you, we would encourage you to download the program so that you can do that for free at strongermemory.org. Strongermemory.org. We'll give you a chance to download it. There's a version in English, there's a version in Spanish. And then we also, if you don't want to download a 177-page curriculum, which is your option, you could also order a book. We sell that at cost, and then just have shipping and handling that goes along with that. Again, all this has been supported by generous donations to our foundation, and we're trying to make it as financially accessible to everyone as possible. So then the second thing would be to engage with the program daily. And I remember I had a resident come up to me early on, and she said, I heard about your program. It sounds really great, but I don't have any needs for it. So I'm not going to do it. So, okay, that's fine. She said, but I am, I do read the Bible every day. And so I have been reading the Bible out loud every day since learning about your program. And I have to tell you, my focus is so much better. And I said, perfect. Then, we don't have any pride of you using our curriculum. If you want to, read or do your own prompts, writing prompts, your diary, or find your own math, problems, you're welcome to do that. We try to make it as easy as possible for folks. But that's, there's no harm in doing it your own way. And I think that's one of the great gifts of the program is people do it all that fits them the way that they want to. One thing we have found is really supporting a weekly check-in with someone, either a partner or a group of people, does have a helpful effect of keeping people accountable to the program. So staying on top of it, obviously, is the key thing, doing it daily, or at least what we say is a minimum 4 times a week. But if you could do it 7 times a week, it's even better. And then please help us spread the positive word. We've hit 16,000, but we're really trying to reach, there's about 10 million people in the country that are estimated to have mild cognitive impairment, so on the path to dementia. And we'd love to be able to impact all 10 million of those folks, or at least get to 100,000 soon, and then 1 million people that we can push off the need for care. And that's why I shared the original slides about our growth of older adults and the decrease of caregivers. One of the things as a country, and you all may be already experiencing this, finding caregivers is going to get harder and harder and harder. And everything we can do as a society to keep ourselves healthier longer is going to be helpful, because it will mean less care needs for all of us. So that's the presentation, Roger. I'm happy to get into any questions or